What's happening, Fresh Baked? We are at the Disneyland Resort here to update you on how things are going in the parks. We are going to walk the entire park today. We're going to go to every land. We're going to check in on every attraction. We're going to look at the crowds. We're going to look at the queues. And we're going to tell you what's new as we make our way throughout the entire park. This is our State of Disneyland report. It is a Friday afternoon here as we begin this report. We're doing it a little later than we typically do. So, I think it's just shy of 3 o'clock. So we'll see how that impacts, what happens throughout the course of this report, this State of Disneyland report. I will say that it is often the case as we go through the parks, a narrative develops about, what kind of day it is. Oh, hey, how are you? Is it busy? Is it crowded? It ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. It gets more busy, more, less busy as the day goes on. Hey, right now, there's not a lot happening here right now. Let's take you down Main Street for just a second and get a sense, because I can see Main Street's actually picking up a little bit. Oh, there's Mickey and Pluto. Maybe that's why. All right, Main Street looks a little bit, you know what it is? Part of this, I think, is people are starting to get ready a little bit for the 3:30 Magic Happens Parade. But let's start, as we often do, talking about availability, accessibility for the parks today, these days. And I'll tell you, this is going to be quite a different conversation this week or this month than it's been in quite a while. Actually, I've got a comment on that as well, but I will say today is the first day, this time period now, I should say this report is the first time we've been able to say this for a very long time. It's wide open. It is completely wide open. There are no dates. Well, I take that back. There is 2 dates. August 20th and August 21st are booked up for Inspire Keys, for Magic Keys. I believe that is because that is the date that Enchant and Magic Keys are eligible to come back into the park after being locked out for a good part of the summer season. But right now, today and any other day for the rest of July and into August, it's wide open. You can come to the park right now, just show up. Now that's a pretty big deal, considering it wasn't that long ago where we were like, oh my God, how it's so difficult to make a reservation. What is Disney doing? Why are they locking things up the way they are? Well, they have unlocked things. It is completely wide open. Now, some of that has to do with the fact that, as we've just referenced, there are no Enchant Keys eligible right now. There are no Magic Keys eligible. That has a lot to do with the availability for Magic Keys, because they all share one bucket. As ludicrous as that might sound, Inspire Keys, Believe Keys, Magic Keys, and Enchant Keys all share one bucket for ticket reservations. Now, the reason why that's a pretty big deal for me is because the fact that there's, it's wide open right now it goes towards the idea that it's the reservation system that is keeping people out of the parks. That is definitely not the case, because there are very few people in the park right now. It is decidedly not busy, and that is a sensation that we have been experiencing for much of this summer. So it's not the reservation system that is controlling how many people are in the park, keeping it in check, as it were. I had said in the past that if they were to unlock everything, there would be no impact on I would say no major impact on the number of people in the parks today. The park is in many ways self-regulating, and that's something that we might try to get into in a minute, what that means. But suffice it to say that your typical Southern California annual pass holder, if it's too busy, they just don't come. They'll show up, they're like, I don't like this, and they'll go back home. But today, these days, they're being restricted from getting into the park because of the reservation system, and that has sort of put a damper on the entire thing. But it is wide open. Anybody can come in right now, be that a single-day ticket holder, multi-day ticket holder, an annual pass holder, you name it. It is wide open. This second, anybody could just walk right in right now, and they haven't. And it's July, and they haven't. So that is that's a big story for me. That's something that is worth observing, worth getting into, and it's something that we're going to, as we make our way throughout the park today, It's something that we're going to come back to, because if we're talking about the state of Disney, the state of Disneyland, in my, golly, if you guys, I'm just walking around, there's nobody here. Well, not nobody. It's not busy. And I've officially made my way all the way around, around the hub. So let's get ready to go to Adventureland. I like starting in Adventureland because right away there's an immediate choke point that gives us an idea of, you know, how dense the crowds are. It's made even more though. It's more of a choke point because of the updates they're doing to the restrooms. So I'm not sure how telling this trip will be this month. Which I will say so far is not bad at all. All right, Adventureland proper. Let's get this party started. Jungle Cruise, posted wait time is 30, but we're seeing guests only on the left half of the upper queue and not the right half. So that 30 might be on the high side, I would say. Meanwhile, Indiana Jones at 50 is about where it should be. 60 or 70. You know, it's a Friday. It's a Friday afternoon. Peak time right now, about 3 o'clock. I'm gonna go back here and look at, I wanna see what the standby looks like back here. Oh, okay, forgive me for laughing prematurely, but you'll see what I'm talking about. They're posting this at 50? This is why I check. I don't automatically just, you know, take what they say on the whiteboard as truth, because that ain't 50. Because once you get into the interior part of the queue, once you've mixed in with the Lightning Lane, which is right here, which by the way there is very little coming up this way either on Lightning Lane, but once you get in there, it's maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and that even could vary to a lower extent if there's not a lot, if there's just nobody in there. Out, you know, this is where all the wait is. If it's 50, it's out. There's no way. There's no way. I'll bet by, it wouldn't surprise me if they had updated the wait time before we even got out of this queue, because that's just wholly inaccurate. You know, that's why folks get upset and they start accusing Disney of, you know, fudging the system, because they see stuff like that and they're like, no, see, they've already dropped it down to 45 since I came out. Right. I mean, I thought it's not 45 either, but hey, they lowered it and they'll probably lower it again. But you know, that's one of those instances where like, hey, look what they're doing. They want you to buy Genie Plus. So they crank up the whiteboard. I don't subscribe to that theory myself personally, but I can see why somebody might suggest that based on that kind of thing.
First day, I'm a fan.
Oh, thank you guys. Hi.
Enjoy your videos.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, Pirates, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. When's the last time we saw Pirates just run all the way down that way, huh? When's the last time we saw Pirates get into that extended queue? I remember, you guys, seriously, I questioned, I wondered, oh, that was, maybe that's when we were contemplating if they were gonna do Lightning Lane, but I questioned where they were gonna fit all these people because of the remodel of when they, you know, they redid the streets here of New Orleans Square. And I thought, how's that gonna affect the extended queue of Pirates? Not at all, because the extended queue of Pirates hardly ever goes down that way anymore. Wow. Things are slightly less complex here than they used to be because they've the walls have been removed here. By the way, stay tuned if you haven't already watched. No, stay tuned, yes, because I haven't put that out yet, but I was shooting construction footage here also today. I know I'm a busy dude today. I shot construction footage. I'm doing this, and then after this, I'm going to be shooting some ride-through footage for our new ride-through channel. Well, it's a channel that already existed. Hey, how are you? How's it going? It's an existing channel, but we're putting content back up there. Theme Park POV Pros is what we're calling it. Trying to separate it from the Fresh Baked name, but it's getting part of the Fresh Baked Network. Theme Park POV Pros. Watch out for that. Anyway, I'm going to be shooting Haunted Mansion ride-through footage tonight because it's closing in 3 weeks, and I need to get some ride-through footage of that before it closes. In any case, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that I was shooting Tiana's Bayou Adventure today, and stuff is happening. It's moving quickly. It's wrapping up. I feel like we're maybe a month or less away from being complete there. We could be seeing a foodie guide very soon. Haunted Mansion, no extended queue out here. It looks like they just now are. They're either they just opened it, or it's thinning out, but very little extended queue. 30 minutes is posted. It actually does look like it's kind of backed up there a little bit, just on the interior part at least. But 30 minutes is all we've got right now for Haunted Mansion. Very little in the way of Lightning Lane. I just feel like it should be more busy. What can I say? I just feel like it should be more busy. I mean, on the one hand, I'm okay it's not, because obviously less people is more enjoyable. But on the other hand, I mean, something's wrong, and I don't like that either. And I want people to be here and enjoy themselves. By the way, I should mention, it is very hot. Has been. The heat has arrived here at the Disneyland Resort. It's been, you know, in the 90s, the low 90s for maybe the last week or so. And I think it's high 80s right now. So the heat is here at the Disneyland Resort. Take a quick trip into Critter Country, though. I mean, there's not a lot to see down here these days except for construction walls and the sounds of whooping and hollering as they dig things out. There's demo happening inside the building. That's something that we observed in our upcoming construction report also. You can kind of see a little look at it. Hey, how are you? But yeah, they are whooping and hollering back there. Hi! Let's see. Fascinating. Look at this. I haven't seen a queue that deep for Winnie the Pooh in quite a while. I mean, it's still just 20 minutes, but they got a switchback. they got a bleeding switchback going on back there. Outstanding. Way to go, Winnie the Pooh. How's it going? Oh, we love you. Thank you. Hey, hi. That's so cool. Can you ever get tired of that? Oh, look. Where is he? I had my daughter with me, and she was just screaming at them. We were down here earlier doing construction, like, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, oh my gosh. She was loving it. Nothing here. Just about as I would have expected. I just like coming back here because I feel like Winnie the Pooh in the 100 Acre Wood is just about the most lovely, lovely queue in the world. It is just simply adorable. I love the music. I love the theming out here. The little 100 Acre Wood that they've set up. Occasionally you'll find some ducks down here. Oh, there's a duck right there. Hey, duck. Oh, there's two ducks. Outstanding. So cute. I'm tempted. I wish I had more time. I would get on all these attractions with you. Ooh, I hear is that the sound of a Mark Twain I hear? Or is that no, that's a Mark Twain, all right. Or no. Yes, Mark Twain. Coming around the bend. Well, I can hear the Mark Twain coming up on our port starboard bow, on our stern side. Do I have that right? Stern behind us? It's coming up behind us? That's stern, right? I can hear it. It's going to be a while before it comes around the corner, so we'll keep this show going. We're here shooting our construction update a week ago, I observed how astonished I was to see the extended queue come out all the way out here. It had been such a long time that since I had seen, you know, extended queue come out all this way. It used to be always. I would do recon out here to measure how long. I would measure every section. I had it all split up, A section, B section, C section, whatever. And you know, I'd be out here just for hours counting how long it took for people to get through the queue. And it was always back there, and I'd hardly ever. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. But it's just so infrequently. Now, when I come through Galaxy's Edge, do I see this queue full? So infrequently. And what's interesting is that the queue, the standby was 70 minutes, even though it was all the way down there, all the way. It was 70 minutes. And I thought, wow, that's short. For a completely full queue, that's pretty short. There's the queue now. I can't even see the back of it. It's somewhere in the caves, the back of the queue is. Can't even see the queue. It's not even that hot. We're gonna talk about that weather thing here in a minute again. But it's not, I mean, it's hot, but it's typical. It's not like out of the ordinary. We'll do a walk by here. You can't see it, but I will be able to. 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's practically a walk on, you guys. Remember this, I was having a conversation with somebody about this, and they were like, posted wait time was 45 minutes. Hey, how are you guys? Or it was 60 minutes or whatever. He says, but you know, we were in the Ray room in 20 minutes. Well, the posted wait time for just about every single attraction is to the vehicle, to the actual ride vehicle. And that includes Rise of the Resistance. Now, for me personally, the show starts in the Ray room. I wouldn't argue that. Disney doesn't measure that way. So right away, it feels like you're getting a bargain every time you go through there. It's going to be posted to 45. You'll probably walk almost all the way to the Ray room without hardly any interruption to get to that 45, because it takes another, well, the Ray room is a few minutes, right? Ray room is 5, and then the shuttle is 5, and then it's another, you know, 5 or 10 minutes in the queue to get into the interrogation room. The interrogation room is 5 minutes. So it takes 20 minutes at least just to get from the Ray room to your ride vehicle. And that's, you know, that's with no waiting hardly. So it stands to reason, if it's a 45-minute wait, you're going to be at the Ray room. You better be at the Ray room in 20 minutes. That's what I'm saying. But more likely, it's less than that. Meanwhile, it is time for a Tatooine sunset, as is our custom. We're going to walk through the marketplace here, and I'm going to place a bet with you guys. I'm gonna bet you the cost of one Tatooine sunset, that when we check the tip board here in just a few minutes, as also is our custom, that when we enjoy our Tatooine sunset, we do it while looking at the tip board. Rise of the Resistance will have a return time for Layton Lane, individual Layton Lane, for right now. And I'm going to also bet you that, I don't know, 90% of the attractions we check will be under their traditional or, you know, typical wait time. And in the process, we're also going to observe, normally I do this mobile order, but look at you guys, look. I'll have one Tatooine sunset, please, and it'll be right there. Wow, I had my pick of tables here at Docking Bay 7. I come here every month. Well, I come here at least once a month, but often more times than that. And very rarely do I ever have a situation where I can just pick my seat out here. Now, it is hot. It is hot. So it could be that people want to be dining inside. Don't blame them one bit. But I did get a shady spot. We're going to take this camera into Docking Bay 7 in a minute just to see how true that is. Because if it's the case, if it were even a nominally busy day, then it should be full in there. I have a feeling it won't be. But right now, I got my Tatooine sunset. And I'm beginning to think that I need to start ordering 2 of these. Is that wrong? Is it okay if I have 2? Alice in Wonderland, 20 minutes. It's back open and it's 20 minutes. Wow, that's actually kind of light. That's pretty good for Alice. Astro Orbiter, 20, standard. Autopia, 10 minutes, less than standard with a return time of a half an hour from now. Big Thunder Mountain, 35, that's slightly less than standard. I wouldn't, call that a victory per se, but 45 minutes is about why I normally would put Big Thunder. A return time of 1 hour, almost an hour and a half. Buzz Lightyear, 15 minutes under normal. Casey Jr., 5 minutes below standard, although they've been running 2 trains a lot. Chippendale Gadget Coaster, 45. Okay, that's pretty typical. That's about where it should be. We saw, I think it was last month, it was 60, but 45 is still good. Davy Crockett, of course, naturally. Dumbo, 20 minutes, below standard, below normal, below average, I should say. Finding Nemo, 25, definitely below average. Haunted Mansion still sitting at 30 with a return time of an hour and a half. I will talk again about that in a second, about what that means, with the return time. Indiana Jones, 50. We saw that earlier. Return time of 7.5 hours. Now that is an attraction pulling guests. But where were they? I mean, wait a second. We were just, that's right, it said 50, then it went down to 45, but there was nobody in the standby queue. And with guests booking this out to as late as 11 o'clock, it is a total mystery. Unless that's why it's 50. No, it can't be, because there was nobody in the queue. Not in standby or in Lightning Lane. Of course, I mean, that could have just been a moment. We might have just got lucky there. Okay, Small World is not operating, but the return time is now. Jungle Cruise, 20, light. King Arthur, 5. Mad Tea, 5. Winnie the Pooh, 5. Matterhorn, 60 minutes. There you go. That's where it should be. Matterhorn is a very popular attraction these days with a return time of nearly 4 hours. Runaway Railway, that's above average. That is above average. With a return time of now, though, and a purchase price of $18 for individual Lightning Lane, Disney, when are you going to wake up? When are you going to wake up and take this thing off individual Lightning Lane? You are costing yourselves money. Because people are going to choose Genie Plus. Most often it is the case they're not going to buy both. They're not going to buy Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane. They're not going to buy Mickey's individual Lightning Lane and Rise of the Resistance Lightning Lane. They're only going to buy one of them. Or they may not buy either now at this point. Disney, wake up. Falcon, 30 minutes, return time of 2 hours. That's below average, I would say. Toads, 10. Peter Pan, 25. That's below average. 25 minutes? When has that ever happened? Pinocchio, 10. Pirate's Lair. I thought that said Pirates of the Caribbean, 20 minutes below. Roger Rabbit, 65. That is, well, I want to say that's above average, but it's actually been at that level since they reopened Toontown. Roger Rabbit has been one of the most popular attractions in the entire park. In terms of just strictly wait time. We had a conversation like that, or about that, in the live stream last night, which you should be joining us for. We do every week, every single week on Thursday at 7 p.m. and we just have a rap session with you and me and 750 of my best friends, and we talk to each other, we ask questions, and one of the questions that came up is, why is that attraction so much more busier than Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which presently is 65 minutes, but it has been going on at like 30, 35, 45. But Runaway Railway can process significantly more guests than Roger Rabbit can. Runaway Railway can probably do quadruple the throughput of Roger the Rabbit, is my guess. Just think about the fact that one ride vehicle has 4 trains, or 4 cars on the one train, and each car can hold 4 guests. That's, well, I should say no. Each car has, there's 4 cars and 3 benches. Is it 3 benches per car? Do I have that right? So you're looking at 50 guests per train. You can put 4 guests per ride vehicle on Roger Rabbit. It's deeper than that, but it goes towards that conversation. Snow White is 15, below average. Space Mountain, 60, that's average. Return time of 5 or 4.5 hours, 4 and 4:45. That's where it should be. It should be like that. Star Tours 15 standby, return time of now. Get the Star Tours off Genie Plus. That is below average. Star Wars down to 45. There you go. I saved myself the cost of this Tatooine Sunset with all of you. The return time says 3:30. That's actually 2 minutes ago. You can go back in time. I've had this open for 2 minutes, but you can go back in time. That tells me that people are not buying Lightning Lane. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because when the return time for an individual Lightning Lane, or even Genie Plus for that matter, is for now, then that means that nobody is buying it or nobody's using it. If it's Genie Plus, nobody is using their Genie Plus coupon, you know, for that attraction. For individual Lightning Lane, it means that people are not buying it, because if they were, there are some who are buying it, but if there were a lot of people doing it to the point where it's a great idea for Disney to be doing it and they're making a ton of money, then that return time should be a half an hour from now, an hour from now, or more. Really, it should be a couple hours from now. Look at the popularity of Indiana Jones. 8 hours from now, that means everybody is using, the people who have Genie Plus are using it for Indiana Jones, and they're using it for Space Mountain, and they're using it for Matterhorn. They may not be using it for Autopia, because why would you? Why would you use, because you can only use it once, why waste it on an attraction that you can just walk on? Why would you buy individual Lightning Lane if the attraction is just a 45-minute standby, and as we just discussed, 20 of that is riding around in shuttles and being interrogated by the First Order, and only half of that is actually spent waiting in a queue. It's just not worth $20 or $25 right now. So, you know, when we have this conversation, it's about Disney waking up. You're not making enough money on the product, and it's making the experience worse for everybody else in the park, because we're still having to wait for the balance of the... Remember when there was no Fast Pass at all, when the parks first opened, and we saw these immense queues, but you only waited for 20 or 30 minutes in those immense queues because they move constantly. Lightning Lane stalls out. It's a queue killer, it's a standby killer. Even Max Pass would be better. Even Max Pass would be better, because, or if they did it like they did before when we had Max Pass, because there was, you know, Fast Pass, but you could get a free Fast Pass, right? And it's because it costs money. It's because Lightning Lane and Genie Plus costs money. That's why they get all the priority. They get all, you know, everybody in those queues gets. I have this conversation 100 times. I don't have to tell you guys again. Disney, wake up. Kill individual Lightning Lane, please. Now, where were we? Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance, Storybook Land, 10 minutes below average. I gotta look, what does that look like? What does a 10-minute look like at Storybook Land? Remind me. Oh, that's it. You know what, I wanna jump over to DCA. We were over there earlier today. I may talk about that, but it was dead at DCA today. Dead-ish. Gold Zephyr was closed. Shocker. Okay, Goofy Sky School, 40 minutes. That is below average. That is an attraction that usually has a long wait because of Genie Plus. But look at that. The return time for Genie Plus is just an hour from now, which for Goofy Sky School is that's not very long. Grizzly is always going to be 60 minutes right now because it's, you know, 90 degrees outside. Guardians is 45. What are you doing, Guardians? Wake up. Return time for 3.5 hours. That's where it should be. Criticoaster 35. That's actually kind of high. Return time for an hour from now. Emotional Whirlwind 20. Standard. Jesse's 5. We were on Jesse. Half the carousel was empty when we were on it. Jumping Jellyfish 20. That is not what we saw. When we walked by, there was 5 people in the queue when Sophia and I walked by that attraction, and that was just a few hours ago. Little Mermaids and some Walk On at 5. Luigi's 30. That's kind of standard. That's actually a little bit below normal. Mater's is just walking on 5 minutes. Guys, go to Mater's. It's an awesome ride. Monsters Inc. is 30 minutes. I mean, that's where it should be. It should be 30 minutes. But lately it's been 45 to an hour because of Genie Plus. But look at the return time; it's just an hour from now. Also, people are not buying Genie Plus. People are not buying Genie Plus. That's the lesson we should be learning here. People are not buying Genie Plus. and they're using it only for the most necessary attractions, which, by the way, Indiana Jones isn't even one of those, because the mix point for Indiana Jones, as we just discussed, is practically at the beginning of the queue. Radiator Springs 70 standard return time of 4 o'clock. That's the one attraction that actually is probably worth an individual Lightning Lane at $18. That's probably the one attraction. I was there earlier today at Radiator Springs and it was 2 hours. You get a nice break with your Lightning Lane with that. So if you can only afford one, that's the way to go. Buy that, don't buy Genie Plus. How about that? So the Symphony was a walk-on. We saw that also. Sophie and I walked by. There was nobody in the queue. Soarin' is 40. Wow. Web Sled. Wait, that can't be right. No wait? No, that can't be. It must have broke down. There's no way it could be available now. I wish I could go check. You know what? Even though it's not exactly the right time, it's 20 minutes to 4. People aren't ordering food, but I just want to see what the comeback time is for mobile orders. Now. Jolly Holiday, 10 minutes. Now. Tiki Juice Bar, 15 minutes, which should always be the case. And by the way, the Mid Julep Bar would also be 15 right now if they were open, but otherwise now. So 2 locations are not now. Incredible. Now we mentioned earlier that it's hot. It's definitely hot, and that would affect, I would think, some folks, decision on whether or not to come to the park. Interestingly, Bob Iger was recently, he did an interview, and he had conceded that attendance at Walt Disney World was lower than expected, lower than it has been, lower than it should be for a summer season. And he had the temerity to suggest that it was due to the humidity. And that's just laughably inaccurate. I sometimes wonder just how, who are they fooling? It's humid it's humid all the time, Bob. It's humid all the time. It's humid in July every single year since the dawn of time. And since when was that ever a burden for people to overcome, especially those, people coming in from out of town, people coming in from out of state, out of the country? They're not gonna just change their plans and decide not to go to Disney World because it's humid, right? Not to mention, it suggests that if that is the case, if those people are still coming, then it must also mean, or I should say, alternatively, it must mean that they are more dependent on the local guest than they might have once wanted to concede. Because I can see a local guest choosing not to go to the park on a superhuman day. They could just come back tomorrow, the local annual pass holders. So but it's like that all the time. That never stopped them before. So which is it? Which is true? I feel like I don't know what's happening with the Disney company. They're going through some things right now. There's a whole talk about, him looking to sell off parts of the company or all of it. They are definitely not doing well. They are susceptible. They are vulnerable right now. And it's shocking, the things that I'm hearing coming out of the Disney company. Luckily for us here at Disneyland, we don't, the park itself exists in a vacuum as part of that conversation. Luckily, Disneyland doesn't care about politics. Disneyland as a place is always a place where I feel happy to be here and welcome, and I love coming to Disneyland. So, whatever conversations that I have about, whether, how things are going and if Disney's making the right decisions, it's not the park that I'm concerned about. It's not Disneyland. It's not the people who work here. I mean, the cast members are the finest people on earth, in my opinion. I don't care what anybody says, They are the chosen ones. But I'm worried about executives. I'm worried about Burbank and you know what's happening. And I feel like they need to. Okay, you know what? I'm going to walk and talk. We're going to have this. I'm going to keep this conversation going because this is interesting. And I will begin that conversation by asking a question that I often ask when talking about that. Is this what you want? Is this the goal? Because you know, we open by saying that the reservations are wide open. I mean, you still have to make them, but nothing is blocked out, except for those dates in August. We'll see if that remains to be the case in August when, you know, if those dates start selling out and we're starting having difficulty again. I caution myself about overreacting to the state of the parks today and what that means for the Disney company, because I made nearly this exact observation a year ago this week. You know, last month we were on the verge of getting same-day reservations. There were some available for that day, like I think a few hours into the day, and then they sold out. But looking at this calendar, 100% availability, not a single book day in July. That's a first. It hasn't been that way since they started selling these almost a year ago. And I almost made the error in this year, saying I've never seen such a thing. But when it turns out that I have seen such a thing a year ago. Bright Suns, Bright Suns. I have in fact seen that, and that was a year ago in July. So what that suggests is that Disneyland is either oblivious to that, or have learned nothing since then, or they have chosen this is what they want. What they did last year, and what they, you know, the choices that they made with the calendar and all that, hasn't really changed year over year. The park is not significantly slower than it was. I mean, I could do an do a little analytics on this and look and get into it, but I don't think it's going to be a really big difference. The differences would be marginal, in my opinion. But this is, by all appearances, this is the reality that they are choosing. They have learned nothing. I think the solution is obvious. Get rid of the reservation system. Undo the Genie Plus system. Take us back to 2019. They're never going to do that, but I mean, things were working great in 2019, man. Things were working awesome. They were making tons of money. Parks were busy. They were selling merch, selling food. Everybody was happy. All hell broke loose, COVID. And they just started overthinking it, trying to outsmart the room, outsmart the game, when the game is simple. Let us in and we'll spend all of our money here. That's all it is. Let us in. Whenever we want. Hey, how are you? And we'll spend all of our money. Let's go to Fantasyland. This is one of the 3 or 4 major choke points in the park where I pay attention to see how dense it feels, how much pressure I'm feeling, and I am feeling none. I mean, it's a little, I mean, it's choking, but look at, Sometimes I stop, as we all are, because it's too tight, it's too packed. This is delightful, practically. A Friday. All right, let's see what we can find here. We'll start looking at some wait times again. Pinocchio, I think, said 10 minutes when we checked the tip board. And I don't see anything to suggest that is not the case. Nobody waiting out here. We've seen queues out here often lately, but not today. Nobody, nope, nobody in there. Snow White. Oh my God. Hey, come on. Snow White, hi. Snow White is ridiculously not busy. Nobody in the extended queue. Everybody in the queue is in the covered portion. That's not very common. Peter Pan said 25. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, it looks like it's full, right? To the casual observer, it looks like it's full, but it's not. Full would be all this right here, and this switchback, and all that back there. Wow. This is 25, if that. Wow, 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 wow. Now, here's the interesting thing about Peter Pan, is that it doesn't seem like a big deal. Peter Pan is one of those attractions that is self-regulating. And when I say self-regulating, I mean there is a limit to how long the average Disneyland guest will wait in the Peter Pan queue. They'll either look at the tip board and say 45, no, I'm done. 45, by the way, is that limit. 45, you hardly ever see Peter Pan exceed 45 minutes, but at the same time, it's almost always at 45 if it's a properly busy day. Even on the most busiest days ever, it's still just 45. It's self-regulating in the way that when you walk by this queue, the average guest, if it's anywhere outside of that extended queue, anywhere outside of those gold chains, if it pokes out into the common areas, they're not getting in. That's it. Once a guest sees that point, they decide it's not worth it to get into that queue at that time, and they come back at a later time. That's self-regulating. So it doesn't take Disney to say, don't get in this queue anymore. It doesn't take that. All we got to do is walk by and see. I walk by that queue, I'm like, that's a great opportunity. Now what that tells me, with the fact that I see this queue in this condition on this afternoon, it says that is definitely a sign that it is not busy. Because if it were busy, that whole queue would be full. There's not enough people in the park to fill the Peter Pan queue. That's just shocking. As for toads, oh wow, okay, not a lot happening here either, my goodness. That's it, that's the back of the queue right there. That's not even 5 minutes. Dumbo. The sign for me, if Dumbo's too full, is if the queues are doing all those switchbacks and stuff back there where the organ is. The organ, right underneath the proper Dumbo sign right there is an organ. And if the queue back there is full, then that's probably a no. This is a different yes. This is an easy yes. If you're interested in riding Dumbo, go for it. This is the time. Posted wait time says 20 minutes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, do it. Go for it. Oh, wow. Teacups. One rotation. For those of you who watch this show regularly or want to learn something today, I have timed this. I have measured this queue many times. All these people are going to get on the next rotation. When I say it's one rotation only, because that's how this attraction works. They load a bunch of people and then they take a bunch of people off, etc. It's not like a, like a roller coaster. Anyway, right here. That is pretty much the end. I mean, give or take a couple, but that's if you can get to here, you're getting on the next rotation of teacups. You want to watch and see? There's nobody. I mean, definitely the folks that we're seeing here are getting in, but I wonder if more people come in, if we'll get them all in there. So, red shirt coming up at us was the first new guest to get in here. Where after marking it, the white jersey was the back of the queue. So definitely everybody, all of those folks got in. It's hard to say how many. I don't know how many people you could fit in this little slice right here. But that's so far, that's 5. Yeah, they're getting at least 10 more in. No, they're still going in. And that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much almost exactly. It was maybe a total of maybe 15 people that got in, where we put the back of the queue back there. So they probably, the 15 people would probably fill in that little slice right there. So there you go, right here. That's pretty much the max right there. So if you can get in before then, you're getting in on the next rotation. Science! Storybook Land. Yeah, that's about 20 minutes, my goodness. Wow. 20 minutes for Storybook Land. Incredible. That shocks me because that's an attraction that I would skip traditionally. I love Storybook Land. But I'm always saying, nah, I'll do it later because the queue is always so long. But that's, you know, that I can do that. I can do that 20 minutes easy. It's not the most comfortable queue. It's really tight, it's narrow. It's, you know, made on the old standards. It's kind of like, you know, Peter Pan and, you know, the rest of the Fantasyland. But I would do that. I would do 20 minutes, sure. Let's go to Toontown. Oh, look out. I think there was yet another collision at the Toontown Bridge. Oh my God, I love Toontown. It's the music. When we talk about saying music is everything, man. I mean, it's terrific. I love the music here. This is busy. Toontown, still doing work. I mean, it's not as busy as it has been. For sure, it's still busy, very busy. But oh my gosh. But this is as light as I've seen it. Oh, I wish I could get a refreshment, snack, fresh food, or a slushie right now. This is as light as I've seen it. You know, during a peak time since it's open. You couldn't even walk through here before. This would be right, a life risk. And this park would be full. You couldn't find any green real estate. Oh, wow. What do we say? Gadgets was 30 minutes. When we looked at the tip board. That's 15. I don't even see the back. Okay, there's the back of the queue right there. Yeah. That's not bad at all. Wow. I'm gonna enjoy this breeze right now, so just hang in there with me, guys. It's really hot out.
The age of 7 must be accompanied by a rider of 14 or older.
I love this. I love this ride. It's just about perfect. She agrees. You know, I don't get sick. They don't invert you. There's no loops. It's just fun, and it's only, you know, 28 seconds long. Perfect. Just perfect. I get a little bit of anxiety when I take Sophie in here, though, to the How to Play yard, because it's hard to keep track of kids because they're just so stimulated and they're running around loose and everywhere, and you want to kind of take it easy for a second and just watch them play, but they go out of sight so quickly. So you find yourself constantly checking, where are they? Where's my daughter? Where is she? What is she doing? And then of course there's this. I love walking up to the Runaway Railway marquee. Perfect addition to Toontown. Perfect. I love this. This is so far and away better than what we had here before. 40 minutes is the standby. I've measured this a few times in the past.
Did you need help with anything today?
No, I was just going to walk up to the door.
We just went down.
Oh my God, are you kidding again?
When we'll come
Oh no, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, have a good time.
This attraction is going down a lot. I think I'm going to talk about that in the construction video as well. But it's gotten worse. And it's breaking down so much. It's like beyond Rise of the Resistance level of frequency, beyond Indiana Jones levels of frequency. Fantastic ride too, and it's so great for this land, but they can't keep it running. 10 minutes posted for It's a Small World, and it's not even that. There's nobody out here, but there's hardly anything in the back in the switchbacks back there. Hardly anything. Wow. Sophie and I rode this earlier today, and we didn't even wait in that. It was a 5-minute wait for Sophie and I. Meanwhile, when we were checking the app, it was 60 for the Matterhorn bobsled. God, this place is beautiful. I just look at what they give us here, and just look at that frame right now. That just makes me so happy. It says 45 minutes. I don't know if I said that. 45 minutes, so things have picked up here, or improved on the wait time front. I love the Matterhorn. I love that music. I love the queue. I love the sounds. I love the mountain. I love this view. Great ride too, by the way. That's why it's held up all these years. All of those things put together, it's like lightning in a bottle. It's not that busy. It's not. It just isn't. But I should say, I want to say that this is not a new development. Perhaps that's the point that I want to make the most here. Is that because I know a lot of folks are going to want to say it's this reason or that. But this is not a new development. It was like this a year ago. I had to do a double take myself. I had to go back, you know, and look at the old footage, or I did before I came here, to make sure, because I kind of knew what I was going to get today. It's astonishing how similar the conversation was. So this is, you know, it's not like things have gotten progressively worse to the point where we've arrived at this destination that we weren't at a year ago. We've been here. We've been at this, you know, there was a space for a while in spring when everybody was allowed into the parks that it was pretty busy. And that's why I want to be cautioned about reading too much into this, reading too much into it being dead in the parks. because there's still these blackouts. I mean, there's blackouts even pre-reservation system as well. So there was a lot of people that were blocked out 2019 as well. That's not a new development either. Getting back to work, which we're almost done with our work today. Space Mountain, 40 minutes. Now is the time. Well, actually, it's too late. If you follow my rules, it's already too late. I would go test that out right now, but I've got to get home and edit this video. But I would get in that queue when it's 60 before I'd get in it when it's 40. Or at the very least, go look at the queue, which is harder to do at Space Mountain than it is at other attractions. But go look at the back of the queue and see where it is. And go look at the Lightning Lane queue to see if it's full or not. Because a lot of people are probably seeing that 40 right now and saying, we need to get the heck over to Tomorrowland. We need to get over there stat. And they probably have. And so if you're not already in the immediate area, then it's too late. That number will jump back up to 60 again. Just like it was when we checked the tip board not long ago. This is my favorite part of the journey.
That's all you get, one bottle.
I love walking through Tomorrowland, listening to that music. The Tomorrowland loop is outstanding. Walking by, just listening to that, and checking the wait board here for Astro Blasters, 25 minutes. Astro Orbiter, also 25 minutes. And then leaving the Tomorrowland bubble out here into the hub. Look at all these happy people enjoying themselves. Look, Disneyland is a place to be, man. It still is. Whew. I love seeing people happy here. That makes me happy. We'll walk through the hub. Say hi to Walt. straight into Frontierland. Man, that view, we were looking at that old footage from opening day. They had that camera right here, looking straight down Frontierland. Fantastic. And now we get to walk in. The musical, the audio transitions from one land to another are fantastic here. Listen. It's like a live crossfade. Somehow Disney has been able to achieve a crossfade and a brick and mortar. It's great. And that's our last destination. Big Thunder Railroad, posted 40. Yeah, it's all of that, I think, or close to it. Lightning Lane is backed up a little. Wow, look at this. This is the first time I felt anything in the park today. Look at this right here. It's taken us all day to achieve this. That's a pretty good line for Lightning Lane right there. So that's gonna kick up the standby wait from 40 to 50 probably. That's our show, guys. That is our State of Disneyland report for this July 2023. You know, I can't believe how long I've been doing these. I was asking myself, can I go back and look at my last State of Disneyland from this time last year and, you know, compare notes? And sure as heck I can. I'm just really enjoying the fact that, you know, we're starting to build sort of a depth of reporting situation here. And that's something that we're going to be continuing. I mentioned the ride-through channel. It's called Theme Park POV Pros. One of the projects that I'm going to be working on that channel is walking through the parks on a regular basis, just, you know, acoustic walkthroughs. The whole parks probably once a month. That's the goal anyway. Once a month, both DCA and Disneyland, in an effort to sort of build a catalog of, you know, what the parks are like at a given time of year. Just to look at it and see it and feel it, so we have something to base it on. You know, that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime of work that I plan on putting in on this. So if you, I know that the channel, what it used to be, was dormant for a while, but it's something that's really, I'm passionate about right now. I'm really passionate about being able to assess what the park is like today versus other times, and even, you know, comparing other attractions. Part of the deal is we're going to be shooting ride-throughs constantly, so that you can see every time there's an evolvement of the attraction, how it looked year over year, that kind of thing. I know that there's a crowd for that, because I'm a crowd for that, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? Build the things that you want to see, or make the things. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Subscribe to our channel if you don't mind. I never ask you guys to do that, but I'd like to do that today, because I never ask, and I feel like I want to ask you to do that to help help out our show. Subscribe to the channel, and then follow us on Instagram as they do the flag retreat ceremony. We'll flip this around so you can get a little bit over here. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's FreshBaked.me, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/FreshBaked. And then to follow us also, subscribe. Theme Park POV Pros, I'll put a link. And that's it, guys. I love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.